So today I am sitting down to film a hard video for me to film, and that is my POTS EDS medical story. So I just want to start off by telling you guys why I'm filming this, and that is to just spread awareness, mainly because doctors do not know enough about this condition. So how can the general public and how can people like me and you know when we have it? You know? And so that's one reason, but also just to be with you and to give you some company if you have a similar story as mine, because it's hard. If you have POTS or EDS, it's hard and it's confusing and it's complicated and it's just a mouthful, you guys. So yeah, I just feel like there's a lot of purpose in having a community with people who understand, because we're in a world, we're living with families. It's really hard for them to understand. And so videos like this where I get to watch and relate to somebody on these medical issues have been a godsend for me and for my family, because they really just put into words conditions that are hard to describe and hard to understand. So if you're somebody who knows and loves somebody with POTS, if you suspect that you do have POTS, then welcome. I see you. Okay, so my name is Aubrey. I just sort of want to start from the beginning. I was born preemie, right? Like super tiny, 2.5 pounds. I came 3 months early, but after spending 3 months in the neonatal intensive care unit, I was pretty much good to go. I mean, there was a rocky start, but I've really been blessed with incredible health my whole life up until about, well, a little over a year ago now. I've always been an athlete, did softball for forever, loved the sport, did softball, cross country, track, golf, all throughout high school, middle school. I've been a strong person. I've been like, you know, that girl when they ask for strong boys to help carry something, I'm like the one to like volunteer and raise my hand and be like, excuse me, I can do just as much as the guys, right? So that's sort of my backstory, just so you guys have the big picture here, because I am learning that these are big picture conditions and they manifest themselves in such different ways for each person. And so yeah, I feel like it is important to say that. Maybe I need to zoom in a little bit, make it a bit more personal. That's my backstory. But about a year and some change ago, I had my gallbladder removed. And it was like out of nowhere in the moment, but looking back, like I could see the signs in the previous year that my gallbladder was failing me. So yeah, I got rushed to the ER and come to find from the CT scan that my gallbladder was incredibly inflamed, and after it was removed, the doctor said, "That is the most dead and shriveled up gallbladder I have ever seen, like in removing one from somebody." I mean, I read about it in the textbooks, but I've seen one in real life, so yeah. Bad gallbladder, my gallbladder is gone. They tell me, hey, it'll be like a week and a half, you can go back to school, because I was in my second semester of my freshman year at college, and so I was like really stressing to get back because I can't miss classes, you know? I don't like to miss classes. So I'm thinking, hey, you know, that's really not too bad after having a surgery. A week, like I can do this, we'll be good. So 2 weeks go by. I'm still feeling pretty under the weather, but I am determined to go back to school. So I do. I go back one afternoon and wake up the next morning with a bile leak. If anybody who is watching this has had a bile leak, I'm so sorry. Because whew, you don't want to go through a bile leak. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Pretty much like where they had taken out my gallbladder and clamped the tubies back together, there was a leak, and acid was all over in my stomach cavity around my diaphragm where it was not supposed to be, and it was burning and hurting, and and I had to have a stent put in to stop the leak. From there, I had a series of complications with the stent. The stent put in was too big and it was causing extreme pain when eating and just like when moving and stuff. And I was having a fever every time after I ate, and I didn't want to eat because I was so nauseous and all this horrible stuff. I have a stent replaced, I have a stent removed eventually, and that helps. I think my body just didn't like the stent, but ultimately the problem was still there. Like, I was still having all of these horrible gastric symptoms surrounding eating. Like, I couldn't eat because I was too nauseous, and eating caused me pain, and I just really felt pretty awful day in and day out. We just kept looking and looking like something's gone wrong. When they put the stent in, they poked something, and we knocked on every door of the gastric doctor community. I also have every test that could possibly be done. Well, they say that, but they just took my blood a whole bunch of times and ran the same tests, I think, that weren't gonna show anything, and telling me I'm young, I'm healthy, you know, I'm probably just an odd case with the gallbladder removal, and I'm in the process of healing even if I don't feel like it. I eventually end up at this functional GI place, specialist, whatever you want to call it, and we really thought this guy, because I told on several different accounts, since nothing's coming up, there's a possibility it could be nerve damage, gastric nerve damage, which if you Google gastric nerve damage, nothing comes up. Nobody knows what it is, and there's really nothing you can do about it, so pretty crappy answer, as you can tell. But we went to a functional GI specialist with that. He sat down, heard my whole story, and yeah, pretty much just told me I needed to see a counselor. And this is somebody that we had waited to get in with for a very long time. And I was still having all this pain, losing weight, struggling to make it to class and be at school. From there, it was just like, what am I even gonna do to get help? Nothing's coming up. We don't know what to do. If we don't know what the problem is, how are we ever gonna get to the solution? Over this past year, I passed out maybe 2 or 3 times. I'd never been one to pass out. I looked up, you know, what physically happens in our body when we pass out, because on these times that I had passed out, there was like no warning, and so I did not feel safe just driving, getting out of baths and showers, especially because that's when I would always get super dizzy, like tunnel vision, silent, and I was like, I don't like this. I want to be able to know if I'm about to pass out. So for Christmas, I asked for an Apple Watch. And that is because, like I was saying, I looked up what's physically happening when one passes out, and it's the heart rate getting extreme, blood pressure dropping is what causes passing out. So I was like, if I can get something that notifies me when my heart rate's getting too low or too high, because we never even looked at my heart rate. We were like dead set on something is wrong with my stomach, which there definitely is and was, but we weren't seeing the bigger picture. I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. Got the Apple Watch for Christmas, and so I was able to see my heart rate. And oddly enough, several months previous to this, we had had a doctor friend tell us, hey, why don't you see what her blood pressure is from laying down to sitting up, her, you know, feeling dizzy and just faint and weak all the time. We went to my primary and they did this, but later I found out they did not do this the right way, because when they did it, nothing showed up. I decided to conduct this test on myself, just since I had the resources to do it with my heart rate. And so that's what I did Christmas night. I laid down on my bedroom floor Christmas night, and I waited for my heart rate to get to what seemed like a consistent resting rate, and I think it was around like 75 at the time. And then I stood up and it went all the way. I thought this was going to be really hard to tell, but I'm so excited telling it now, so thank you, Lord, because I was expecting this to be really hard. Anyways, yeah, I stood up and my heart rate skyrocketed up to about 140 initially, and then after walking around, it started to maintain around 120. And I was like, I don't know what like a normal thing to happen when you stand up is. A normal increase in heart rate is. I don't know what a normal walking heart rate is. So I pulled out my phone and looked up on Google what's the normal increase in heart rate on standing, and it said 5 to 15 beats per minute. And I was like, snap. That is a lot more than 5 to 15 beats per minute. And so I Googled what causes your heart rate to go up more than blah 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 on standing. And you know what came up? Pots. Jeez, I'm being so dramatic with this. And I started doing all of this research on pots, and I had like every single symptom. I'll put the symptoms around me right now, you guys. I have so many symptoms, and a lot of them we thought were side effects from the medicines I was taking to deal with the pain. No, it was just POTS, because POTS is a wild one. It causes a little bit of everything. Reading through all of this stuff, we were like, oh my goodness, this explains like the symptoms we like had no idea were happening and thought were side effects. This just like explains everything. I had my hands and feet turning blue and purple, and my legs turning purple after getting out of the shower at school, and I was like, why am I a Smurf? And you look at the side effects and it's like, this medicine doesn't cause you to be a Smurf. What even? POTS causes you to be a Smurf. That's what it does. And it also causes a whole lot of other stuff. And if you have POTS, yeah, sadly you know exactly to what extent the symptoms range can be. It's pretty insane actually. I had COVID back a few months before I had my gallbladder removed, and so we do believe that the culmination of COVID, bam, viral infection, and then body trauma from gallbladder bile leak is definitely what triggered POTS. And so come to find out, when your heart rate gets too fast and is trying to overcompensate for blood getting stuck in your feet, because it's like, ah, why is the blood not coming back up? It causes your sympathetic nervous system to freak out, send out all of this adrenal response, and put your body pretty much in flight or fight response 90% of the time. And of course, when some people are nervous, this is the stress response, they have a lot of stomach problems. So that explained that, and it also explained why after eating my pain intensified, because when you're digesting food, your heart has to send extra blood to that area, and when the heart's already struggling to get blood everywhere else and really not being able to because the blood pooling is so bad, it adds an extra strain to your system, causing increase in symptoms. We found out all of this stuff. We took it to my primary care, and she was like, you guys are onto something. And then she did some more research and she was like, yeah, I'm gonna confirm the diagnosis. From that point, we were able to find POTS specialist, and so far I've only been to the preliminary visit, and that is when I got a POTS and EDS diagnosis confirmed. I do plan on making videos to explain these conditions in more detail, but that is my medical story so far, you guys. Please comment down below you're a fellow POTS EDS person. Like this video, please, just to, like I said, generate awareness, because the more people that can see this, the more awareness there will be, and I really feel like that is critical for these conditions. So yeah, thank you so very much for taking the time out of your day to listen to me and be here with me. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!